Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. The first of probably several I will be making or recording today. I asked my friends, I gave my friends a list of 5 options to vote on, and they voted on this one. And unfortunately, this is actually the one I wanted to record the least, but it's fine. I'll just record the other ones too. But anyways, I'm going to be discussing the latest natdex suspect or shadow tag. What do I have to say about this? I think this has been something that's kind of been coming for a long time. There are gothitelle kind of been rising for a while. I mean, natdex just has a lot of really broken stuff in the tier. But I think the time and place has probably come for a sort of move shadow tag / gothitelle. Really, what we're talking about here is gothitelle. The only other shadow tag Pokemon are the gothitelle line, Mega Gengar, which got banned a day into the tier because it was just had Encore and it was just really stupid. And then Wobbuffet and Why Not, which I mean, XD. But because the entire gothitelle line has the same tools and shit, it's just cleaner to ban shadow tag. So I think that's what's been done in the past as well. I mean, it's just kind of an uncompetitive ability. But yeah. So gothitelle is kind of seeing an uptick in usage in the last several months. Because I mean, over time, this tier kind of just develops pretty slowly. But usually once people catch on to something being done, it really starts to go up. So gothitelle's been seen on a lot of teams, and there's been a lot of people clamoring for a suspect. I honestly don't feel particularly strongly about the mon. I think it's just a little stupid. There are things that bother me more that are legal in natdex, but I think banning this Pokemon is definitely very fair, right? And we're just to explain why we're gonna watch this replay, and I'm just not even gonna provide commentary. That's a crit, by the way. Fun interaction. See, Trick Room goes through him in prison. And, yeah, good game. But yeah, this is a good illustration of one of the several things that makes gothitelle really dumb. And that's this Z hypnosis set. So this is a set that was kind of seen on some mods back in SM. But it's particularly stupid on gothitelle because you can't switch out, you can't do shit about it. And this team just got completely owned by gothitelle. And the kind of the issue with gothitelle is it's usable on so many archetypes and makes so many archetypes better that it's not really easy to prepare for everything that you could encounter. I mean, this team kind of just doesn't have a Trick Room matchup, right? But normally, if there wasn't a gothitelle, you could kind of play around it. And that's kind of an issue. Gothitelle makes winning matchups more winning. While not even really making your losing matchups more losing. So it's just it's very it's kind of just a very extreme element. So it kind of enhances what's already there. And it's here natdex where there's so much other degenerate Pokemon. It's very easy to use it a little bit. And so this is one game. The reason why I'm in particular, I'm not someone who cares a whole lot about whether it gets banned or leaves. Is I actually kind of like playing the playing around shadow tag, playing with shadow tag. But I mean, at the same time, it's probably objectively better for the tier to not have it. Round. But yeah, and this is a good game too. I think this is like a really cool team that has gothitelle. But I mean, I did not fare very well for this video. I'm not gonna lie, but this is an interesting like example of what gothitelle does, right? So this matchup on preview, I actually thought it was like not bad because I thought Volcanion looked like really good, but what I didn't really reflect on enough is that Volcanion was like the main thing I really needed to win the game. Then I got completely goobed by Power Gem Fluttermane plus gothitelle, and like despite knowing that I needed to preserve Volcanion, I actually ended up in a position where it became impossible to do so because of gothitelle, right? Like I get taunted, and then I just die to helping him extreme speed. And so, yeah, I mean, this is a kind of a good example of like the power of gothitelle. I could have played this game better for sure, but this is an example of just like one thing gothitelle can do, right? Like, again, like I said on preview, I thought this was easier to play than it was, but yeah. So this is not a common like team for gothitelle, but that's the thing, right? Like you could the point is like you put it on anything. So the most popular gothitelle team is actually this Sun team. That saw several uses last week. It went like 1-2. I think like it's kind of like a telegraph team because the people who were like gonna bring it like were kind of like this is the best team in the format, and I don't really think that's like objectively true or anything. But it's kind of this like Sun team with like Rising Voltage, Raging Bolt, and they're like Coco Hands. Coco Hands is another like duo that's kind of like seen a lot of usage recently. It's a kind of mixed success. I use it a lot in the recent like natdex tour. When I kind of got to the point where people like kind of like realized how to play around it, so I like stopped bringing it. But on this team, the idea is kind of like, okay, you trap the things that are like good into like Charizard or the others, and then like you use the rest of the team to like eliminate them. And this team is like fairly strong, but it is like kind of like a little bit clunky. I think like part of the problem is like no matter how, I mean, obviously no matter how good this team is, it's not going to beat the Trick-Wish Tyranitar team. But yeah, this is one of the most popular teams. Here's a good example of it actually like doing something. But yeah, this team's kind of everywhere. I think there's like honestly, this team being the main team on it like kind of like weakens the idea of banned gothitelle in my opinion. But it's definitely a strong team. I think it just like it's the kind of thing where there's like so many other like really strong gothitelle teams as well, and I think like if you're really looking at the variety of teams like gothitelle is being used on, it's pretty clear that this is like one of the strongest Pokemon in the format. And part of the reason for that is gothitelle's toolkit is extremely wide. So if we're gonna take a brief look, who's messaging me on PS? First number response to battle. The thing with gothitelle is it has so many options. So personally, like the thing that makes it really, really strong in my opinion is like access to fake out. Like this guy got this in Gen 8, and as soon as it got it, like it kind of like disrupted the status quo, right? Because gothitelle actually was legal from BW through SM in DOU. It's really, really strong in generations like 5 and 7, and it's like pretty good in Gen 6 as well. But it was kind of just like an accepted part of the metagame, you know, like to my knowledge at least. Obviously, Shadow Tag is really strong, and like there are people to this day that want gothitelle banned, even like without fake out in Gens 5 and 7 in particular. And I definitely like see the argument for that because fake out is honestly not that integral to the Pokemon. It just adds like another level of like utility that it can carry. It just gives you so much flexibility, and that's why like in Generation 8 and 9, in regular standard DOU, Gothitelle has been banned, like, very, very quickly. Like, it's kind of just, it was just kind of like accepted, alright, well, we can't use this Pokemon in the tier anymore, like, it just can't handle it with this extra level of utility. And, I mean, in natdex, like, it was freed, like, immediately, because, like, everything in natdex, for context, was freed at the start. Like, anything that had ever been legal in DOU was started free in natdex, because, like, we knew it was going to have, like, a really high power level. And unfortunately, like, it took a really long time to get some of the stuff, like, that really obviously needed to be banned out of the tier, just because there's that volume of, like, really strong Pokemon that were legal, right? Like, we had, like, Zamazenta legal. I guess Zamazenta was the exception, like, that was never legal in DOU. But Zamazenta being legal in natdex is proof that we're never going to test it again in any other DOU format, probably. But yeah, Gothitelle was like freed along with everything else, and it was like it kind of like managed to like warp in the tier for a while because like the power level is really high. It's not as difficult to like remove Gothitelle. Like in some of the old gens, what makes it really strong even with like without fake out is the fact that like it's a really bulky Pokemon, and if you pair it with like Intimidate support, it gets a lot more staying power than like you really expect it to. In natdex, it's not able to quite rely on this bulk as much, just because like attacks in general are just doing a lot of damage. But it's still a very bulky Pokemon, and with like the right support, it's really strong. Like on this team, which I used in week 1, I guess we'll get to the replay in a second. I was using lefties with Goth, and this felt like really, really strong in testing. This team lost like 20 games or something. And yeah, it's so easy to give Gothitelle a lot of staying power in like a team like this. I pull up that replay. Let's see. I'm not sure like when that Gothitelle actually comes out of the game. I think it's pretty late on, but it definitely like helps me narrow down this game. So yeah, I mean, this is like definitely like one kind of team you can see like Gothitelle on. Like we just saw it on like that Sun team. We've seen it on Rain. Rain was actually one of the more common teams. I think like Voltix was using it with like I guess Swampert or Caledon. And that team was like fairly strong as well. You can just use it on like a terrain team, like a grassy terrain team like this. With like I mean there's like all sorts of stuff you could do with this, but I personally like pairing it with like Flutter and stuff because Flutter Mage is stupid and should not be legal. Shout out to Big Teeny really in this, by the way. You've also seen it on like those like Coco Hands teams, like the Electric Spam. I have like a replay to show for that as well. Just to show like a variety of examples of how this wand can be used. And it's really just like this ability to slot all these different moves, right? Like you can slot Pawnt on your Gothitelle, you can slot Heal Pulse on your Gothitelle, you can slot Z Trick Room on your Gothitelle, you can slot Fake Out on your Gothitelle. And I mean there's like more too, right? Like I'm sure we haven't even like fully explored all the things you can do with this Pokemon. Shout out to Mega Ball, by the way. That's another thing that's kind of been picking up recently. W Terra Dragon. I wonder if I clicked Play Rough. Where's Gothitelle? Oh, okay, yeah. So Gothitelle comes in like late in this game, right? This Diancie could actually be like really annoying if it like gets the chance to set up, but unfortunately, it does not get the boost and it can't switch out. So it's now trapped. I get to click Fake Out on the Rillaboom and the Diancie just dies to Play Rough. And so this game could have been very, very difficult if I didn't have Goth, right? But like the fact that my opponent, a good friend Log Ice, was unable to like reposition here, like just meant the game was over as soon as he didn't get that Diamond Storm defense boost. So yeah, that's an example of Mawile. Also, you can do fun stuff with like Sucker Punch Pokemon. Like this is Assault Vest Rillaboom and this like Zeraora. Like they probably don't have anything other than attacks. So I could just like click Sucker Punch into them and they can't switch out. So like, there's just like so many things you can do with Gothitelle, and that's kind of like why I like love it as a Pokemon so much. It's just like endless amounts of creativity, but it's also not a very competitive form of integrity or creativity. Um, let's look at some other stuff in this move pool that you could reasonably use. Um, you could maybe use screens with it, or like probably not both, but probably like a single screen. Um, obviously, protect is broken on shadow tag. Um, Taunt is a big one. You could probably use substitute if you really wanted to. I was messing around with toxic. I don't think it's actually good. You could definitely use trick. That's something you see in singles formats. You don't really see that as much in like when you see goth and doubles, but I mean, definitely like if you gave it enough time, I'm sure someone would use that, right? Ally switch. I've seen ally switch a few times. Charm. Uh, the good stuff is really down here. Um, Yo, embargo, that might be fire. Big tears, you could do that, maybe. Yeah, it's just a really incredible support move pool. Oh, gravity, that sounds cool. Maybe. Helping Hand is one of the stronger options, actually. Helping Hand on Gothitelle is really, really good. There's not a lot of Pokemon I'd say Helping Hand is really good on, but Gothitelle is absolutely one of them. Obviously, Hypnosis in Prison. Catch the opposing Gothitelle off guard. Miracle Eye. This is a very funny move. I'm not even going to mention why. I don't want anyone to figure it out. And you could probably use like the rain dance stuff. Oh, skill swap is something that probably should be explored more on it. If it's like the longer it's around, you can give shadow tag to something else. Snatch is a really, really cool move. This move is absolutely hilarious. I think that's mostly it. But yeah, like as you can see, there's just like a lot of options it has, and like we're mainly using like the good stuff, but like on the right team, these other options could absolutely like be like game breaking or like match deciding, right? That's like really just like the beauty of shadow tag, and that's why it fits on so many teams, and that's why I will probably be voting ban on it. Hold on, did shadow tag actually play any role in this game? Oh, looks like the Landorus is dead. Let's watch out. Skill issue. Oh yeah, this is last 2-for-1 anyway. I'm stupid. Okay, so yeah, it didn't really have like a whole lot of effect here, but still having fake out could like some value in this game. Let's see. I had a game with it in like natdex blind draft. Let's see. It was like a good example of like using it with Tapu Koko. Oops. This game. Okay, yeah, so I'm using Rain with Tapu Koko with Gothitelle. And apparently I just lead Gothitelle. Good for me, I guess. Oh yeah, I remember now. I like trapped and eliminated the Rillaboom on like turn 2. Because that's okay, I guess. But yeah, this is a cool team. But yeah, I mean, the Rillaboom either has to Terra or die. Like on turn 2. I mean, that's just like kind of absurd. Oh, we get the Gothitelle back in. I gotta get to take a... Oh yeah, Trick Room. Let's go. Iron Hands. It's an overly aggressive play. I don't really know why I felt the need to do that. Oh, okay, well. Vice Elements. Jirachi is gonna come out. Oh, I'm just gonna bring in Shadow Attack again. Nice. Oh, and Perish Shock. Okay, yeah. This game is over. I mean, obviously, Perish Trap's another thing you can do with it. And natdex, that really just comes into effect on, like, Rain or on that Sun team that has Perish Song Flutter. But it just really, it adds another dimension of, like, what Gothitelle can do, right? Yeah. it's really just absurd the amount of stuff you can use this Pokemon. I mean, like, we saw it, like, next to Stack. Stack Attacker got banned recently. It had, like, a similar, like, score on, like, the last survey to Gothitelle, but, and honestly, like, the survey scores were not that high, but, like, Stack Attacker got banned by, like, a ridiculous margin. To the point where, like, I mean, it kind of, like, at least in my mind, I think it kind of solidified the idea that, like, the survey scores are, like, underrepresentative of, like, the general, like, opinion on some of these Pokemon, right? And because Gothitelle had, like, a pretty similar, like, score to King Gambit, or not to King Gambit, Stack Attacker, and Stack Attacker got, like, resoundingly banned, the council decided to go ahead and act on Shadow Tag. And so, yeah, I mean, this is actually a really good Gothitelle replay. Like, I just did way too much stuff with this in this game that, really my opponent didn't have much of a chance. I mean, on this, I literally fully dropped an attack. I mean, you could do that on Gothitelle. It's one of the only Pokemon in the game you can do that on consistently, just because its utility is that incredible. But yeah, I think, we probably got to get this thing out of the tier. There's a few other mons that I would like to see probably removed in time. Flutter is one of them. I think Flutter is just kind of, like, stupid. This Pokemon is obscenely broken. In some ways, I think it's more broken in natdex than it was in SV. Just because, like, it hits so many of the common mons. It's definitely it's a little weird. I mean, you have, like, a few more options to play around Flutter and natdex, but it's not that many. And a lot of the ones that are not in SV aren't even good anyways. See Celesteela as an example. But Flutter is one thing. I probably want to see that suspected at some point. Not, like, probably anytime really soon. I think we gotta... If Gothitelle gets banned, like, the tier is probably gonna have, like, a fair amount of, like, restabilization for a while, and we'll probably have to wait a while to see what really, like, comes up to the top here. But Gothitelle is definitely, like, the next direction. I think I encourage everyone voting in the suspect to vote ban on Gothitelle. I think it's just better for the tier's integrity. And I mean, natdex has just been, like, kind of like a slow progression of, like, getting the stuff out of the tier that's unhealthy. And Gothitelle is the next thing I think that probably needs to go. We're probably eventually soon going to come to the end of, like, the really obvious bans. But it's probably the last ones that are, like, really, really glaringly, like, obvious are Deoxys Attack, Gothitelle, and Basket Legend Male. Deoxys Attack and Basket Legend Male are just, like, some of the dumbest Pokemon we ever had in SVDOU. And they're still legal in natdex. They're a little bit harder to use, but, like, the broken potential is, like, still there. Like, I use Deoxys Attack in my, like, suspect Rex. It just seemingly broken. It's, like, just not okay. But that's a problem for another day. The problem for today is banning Gothitelle. And who knows, maybe some of those things I just mentioned will get a little bit easier to deal with without Gothitelle in the tier. Here's hoping. But yeah, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for another video very, very soon. Or probably more. I might record, like, 3 or 4 videos today. I don't really know. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.